Hi, Gary here. Remember the first time you got your driver's license, you were driving the car around, your parents' car probably, and you weren't thinking about all those things about when you eventually bought a car. It was pretty simple. You got the keys, drove the car around. Maybe they gave you some money to fill up for the gas for the car, but other than that, you didn't really have much else about it. But when you bought your first car, it was really tough because you had to deal with insurance and maintenance and obviously paying for the gas and the down payment for the car and car payments, and it was pretty complex. A lot different than you thought when you just started driving the car when you got your license. Well, it's kind of that way somewhat renting versus owning a home. Rent is pretty simple. You can basically walk away. You get through the lease, you don't want to be there anymore, you walk away. Now, hopefully you get your 1 month of rental back, but really there's a fixed cost, a fixed time frame, and you're gone. So it's pretty simple. Owning, on the other hand, there's a bunch of factors in buying a home. And I want to kind of walk through those factors today here, and there's really 6 factors to think of. The first one is down payment. If you are able to save 20% for a down payment on a home, you'll get the best possible interest rate on a mortgage for the other 80%. If not, anything less than that, you'll have PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, and that will raise your cost by some amount. Usually it's 1/4 or 0.5% more on the actual rate for the mortgage. Second factor is what we call PITA, P-I-T-I, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So principal and interest is what you pay on a mortgage, so say a 30-year amortized mortgage. We'll give you an example in a moment. The last two is taxes and insurance. You got to pay real estate taxes, and you got to pay insurance on your property in case it burns down, for those kinds of things. Next is maintenance, and the rule of thumb here is it's going to cost you about $1 per square foot per year. So if you have a 2,000 square foot home that you're buying, it's $2,000 a year. Then it's number 4 is homeowner association. If you buy a condo or if you buy a townhome, you're going to pay some kind of homeowner association fee on an ongoing basis. The 5th one is how long you're going to own the place, because if you only own it for a year or 2 or 3, it probably doesn't make sense to buy it. The longer you own it, the more you spread out costs over time. Also, there's appreciation of the home, so you can get your money back and so forth after all the costs of selling. And then finally, there's the opportunity cost of that down payment. If you set a bunch of money aside, now you stick it into the house, what else could you have done with that money? Could you have invested it in the stock market, as an example, and made more money than what will make in the house? And it's a lot of factors here, but I'm going to walk you through a scenario here. So let's say you're going to buy a $200,000 house with 2,000 square feet, and you're going to put 10% down, which means you saved up $20,000. Currently, with PMI, you can get a mortgage of around $180,000 at 4.25%, and that's $885 a month. Now, there's a tax savings, and if you're in the 25% tax bracket, that's about $160 a month. So that's a savings to you on that. And then there's maintenance, which I mentioned earlier, and that's about $170 a month over the long term, because it can go up and down. Then there's taxes and insurance, which run about $250 a month. This is on average in the country. And then finally, there's some homeowners association. Let's say it's around $175 a month. Add all that together, and it comes out to about $1,320 per month to own a home. Now, what are you currently renting? Now, if your rent is $1,300 a month or more, then it's less expensive to own a home. And that's leaving out all the factors around having home ownership, knowing you own your own home, and those other emotional factors involved with it. So that gives you an example. There's a site here you can go to. It's New York Times has a rent versus buy calculator. It's really good, actually. They bring in a lot of factors. You can go on there and play with it and kind of get a comparison in your own situation. And we've given you a couple other hyperlinks here to look at as well. But home ownership, many times, if we look at it purely from a financial standpoint, not emotionally and other factors, really can come down to these factors I mentioned earlier, and you can determine if renting makes sense to continue or if it makes sense to look at buying a home. So until next time, enjoy.